Alright, folks, now this is chapter 7. Before that, let's go into the disclaimer. There you go, zoom in, wait for 3 seconds, and boom. There you go, back to the picture. Alright, it's chapter 7, The Power of Forgiveness. Let's begin. Lots of salt out here, Seth said. Ephraim nodded. Yeah, salt pans, I see. And there are lots of Saracen kids as well. Seth chuckled. Yeah, and lots of Saracen gulls too. Thomas sighed. Come on, let's just swim. Then they took off their shirts and immediately ran for the sea. Soon, Apotheos was about to go, but he noticed Lucio just standing by the lunch cart. Huh? Why are you standing there, Lucio? Don't you want to swim? Apotheos said. Lucio shook his head. No, not feeling it. Apotheos approached Lucio. Come on, let's go. It'll be fun. Lucio shook his head. Just you go. Apotheos frowned. Really? Come on, it's just water. Just take off your shirt and just get in there. The other guys brought in spare shorts too, so you can change them into later. Lucio grimaced. I said no! Then Officer Kai came over and tapped on Apotheos' shoulder. Just leave Lucio alone before he punches your face again. Then, as they started walking for the sea, Officer Kai whispered into Apotheos' ear. Lucio can't swim. Last time when we all pranked it by throwing him into the sea, he almost drowned. And he's short too, so that's even more odds on him. Apotheos sighed. But he doesn't do anything with us. It's sad. Officer Kai sighed. I know, but there will come a time when he feels he's good enough to do it. Just have patience with him. Then, everyone except for Lucio spent a long time playing on the beach. So that when they came back later to eat their lunch, Lucio was sleeping by the cart. Hey, thanks for keeping our cart safe, Lucio. Ephraim approached Lucio, but flinched. Edwin chuckled. Wow, he's knocked out. Then they woke up Lucio and started eating. Soon, Thomas turned around and saw a big seagull gazing at them from nearby. Thomas pointed at the seagull. Look at that seagull. I think it's saying, hey guys, to us. Ephraim chuckled. That's funny. It's standing very close too. Seth saw it and chuckled. Wow, I can't believe how it's not scared of us. The seagull kept on looking around, but didn't move a bit. It was much later that it flew away making its noise. Much later, when they were halfway done with their lunches, they noticed a lot of noise coming from their right and saw a group of other civilians getting attacked by seagulls. What the? Andel said. Yeah, why are they attacking? Edwin said. Ephraim cleared his throat. Just ignore them. Look what we have around us. The other guys got shocked upon seeing a group of seagulls standing around them, and that they roughly made a circle. One seagull made its noise. Another seagull made its noise. What's going on? Andel said, very startled. Beware, it's the attack of the seagulls, Officer Kai said. Do be crazy to say that, Kai, Edwin said. But suddenly, a big seagull dove down, landed on Edwin's leg, and snatched away the bread that he was holding. Ah! Edwin shouted. Then he rubbed it in his cheek where the seagull's beak slashed it during the stealing process. Well, that was a first strike, Seth said. Guys, I don't think it's time to linger around here any longer, Ephraim said. A seagull made its noise. The diving seagull landed someplace away and shook the bread and it broke into numerous pieces. It made its victory noise and looked up at the sky while spreading out its wings in triumph. Immediately afterwards, other seagulls lunged in to steal soldiers' food and feed off the bits and scraps of food which fell in the sand by careless eaters. More seagulls made their noise. Wow, why are these guys continuing to come at us? Vincent said, and he kicked a seagull away. The kicked seagull fell down, and it made its noise, perhaps requesting for assistance from other seagulls. But so the other seagulls flew in to reinforce, and they took away everyone's bread in no time. Let's get out of here! These guys are crazy, Edvin said, and he swiftly packed up his belongings to leave. Others followed, and some of them even forgot about taking their half-eaten lunches. Let's just go to the bathhouse to wash ourselves, Thomas said, and he ran faster. Is it just me, or is Captain Thomas fleeing from the seagulls faster than us? Andel said. Yeah, it's so unlike him. He never flees from enemies, so I guess seagulls are mightier than all the enemies we have faced so far, Edvin said. Nah, look at his head. It seems like a seagull had overdone its business, so I think he just wants to wash it off, Gilroy said. Ew, yeah, it's slowly trickling down to his neck, Gibson said. At last, the soldiers arrived at the bathhouse and went inside to wash it. This time, Lucio went into and sat in a corner of the bath by himself. Sometime later, Simeon came over to sit next to him. Yo, what's up? Lucio flinched and looked at Simeon. Hi. Simeon chuckled. Well, you're not as feisty as before. Lucio shook his head, but didn't say anything. Simeon glanced at Lucio. Hey, but what made you be very rash back then? Lucio sank deeper into the water and didn't say anything. Simeon tapped on Lucio's shoulder. Hey, don't be so shy. That's not like you. Because Kai helped me out. I just couldn't throw away the support that he gave me, Lucio said. Simeon smiled. Yeah, but pinning an innocent soldier like me on a punishment, is that what you wanted to do all along? Lucio shook his head. I'm sorry. Simeon flinched because it's been widely known that Lucio hardly ever apologizes for anything. Well, you don't need to say that. I'm sorry, Lucio shouted. Simeon chuckled uncomfortably. Well, I forgave you already a long time ago because it was nothing to be afraid about, but I still accept your apology, and I'm certain that Commander Kairos would just let it pass because that's what he usually does. He shrugged. And you know, everyone slacks off here and there from time to time, so he wouldn't mind it much. Lucio looked at Simeon. Do you mean it? Simeon nodded. Yeah, of course. And come to think of it, I think I enjoyed the discussion session with you guys. And the time out at the beach, too. It seems you guys really care about each other and have strong bonds connecting everyone in it. He smiled. And I liked how you started up an argument with me like that. Why? Lucio said. It's because others don't really talk to me much. I tend to just sit around and listen to them talk. So I sometimes feel like I'm just a ghost. But that was a great welcome you threw at me right there. It was fun, Simeon said. Lucio grunted. You're the first guy who told me that. Told you what? Simeon said. Lucio sighed. People never appreciate me here because I pick fights with them. They look at me like I'm some sort of pest. Simeon chuckled. Well, have you ever thought that if they really thought about you like that, then they would have kicked you out already? Come on, don't be so negative. There are people here who really care about you. Lucio sunk deeper into the water until only his head was above it. Really? Simeon spread out his arms. Yes, really. Everyone has friends, you know. It's just that they don't know it. Okay, I still think I don't have any friends here, but do you? Lucio said. Simeon smiled. Yes, even though they may not seem like friends that people think about, Placidus and Constance really care for me here. We may not look like we have many conversations, but we actually talk a lot during our times in our room. So, you must have some guys like them too. Lucio sighed and didn't say anything. Simeon gazed at Lucio. That guy looked as miserable as ever. And you know, you tend to argue with Seth a lot. I mean, just too much for your relations to be hateful relations. but more like a recently married couple kind of fights. So I bet that he secretly likes you. Lucio flinched and his face suddenly turned super red. It seemed like others were getting onto something. Not only Apacios, but also Simeon was speaking about his relation with Seth. What? No, no way, he's my enemy. He glared at Simeon and pointed at him. Hey Simeon, don't try to steer my ambitions away from him. Simeon chuckled. Guess he had pressed some levers there. Nothing wrong about that. I mean, really. Because people who really hate each other just don't talk to each other. But you guys not only constantly argue with each other, but also, according to Ephraim, you guys sleep near each other too. Hasn't that ever bothered you? Oh no. Simeon was even worse. Never has Lucio ever felt this much confused rage sprouting from inside. Perhaps the great dam of his emotional waters just burst open and sent all the pent-up rage and grief from within soar all over his body. Just so much so that he started trembling a lot and had trouble breathing. And obviously, the steam of the hot bath wasn't at fault of it. Simeon gasped. Whoa, are you alright? Lucia suddenly stood up and shouted, Ah! Simeon, just get lost! You don't make any sense, and I don't know what you're talking about. Ephraim looked at the direction of the noise. It seems Simeon and Lucio are fighting again. Officer Kai sighed. Simeon wanted revenge one-on-one. He's a serious guy. I really wish I didn't intervene back then. Apacius walked into the water. No, Officer Kai, you did a great job back then. Lucia needed your help so much. Suddenly, immense pain ran over his stomach and the Wah! It hurts. Seth looked at Apacios. What hurts? All over my body. It burns, Apacios said. Officer Kai looked. Good grief, you have an intense sunburn there. But why? Edvin shrugged. Beats me, I'm good. Yeah, me too, Undel said. Seth gazed at Apacios. Well, I never even realized it before, but hey, are you sure you're a Roman like us? Apacios stared at Seth blankly. Well, yeah, I was born in Morea province. Seth shrugged. Come to think, you sure don't look like us. Look at those golden eyes and yellowish white skin. And have you ever thought that your pops adopted you from any war zone? In the way you were treated since birth? Have you thought about that? What are you saying? Apacio said. Ephraim tapped and said, Just let it slide by. I'll tell you more later. Seth nodded and stretched his arms. Whatever. He looked at Apacios. Just peel off the skin, then you'll feel better. Sometime later, when Ephraim was busy talking to Apacios, Officer Kai slowly moved over to sit next to Seth. Hey Seth, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Seth flinched. What? About Apacios. And Lucio too, Officer Kai said. What about them? Seth said. Officer Kai sighed. They are foreigners. Seth nodded. Oh, so like the Slavs in Morea? Yeah, Officer Kai said. Seth chuckled. You know, I saw them whitewashing people's houses from time to time for some money. It appeared that they have a seasonal traveling time with their herds. I would see them at around the same time every year around my neighborhood. They looked very odd and were filthy and smelly. So do you think Apacios is a Slav or a mix of Slav and Roman? Officer Kai said. Oh, you mean like the Mortatoi? Seth said. Yeah, but that's between Turks and Romans. We're saying Slavs and Romans here, Officer Kai said. Seth frowned. But that's freaking apostate. They belong to no group. So they frequently switch sides and are accepted by both sides. The executives shouldn't have hired them. We can't guarantee their loyalty. Then they both sighed and started talking about other things. Back to Simeon and Lucio. Simeon looked up at Lucio. Hey, but why are you crying? Lucio flinched and immediately sat back down and submerged himself under water for a while, and then lifted his head back out. I'm not crying, it's just water and steam. Simeon slowly nodded and decided not to press it more. Hey, I never wanted to get you that riled up. I was simply curious, that's all. So I guess that's how much you hate Seth then. Good grief, hearing you talk like that, Seth would have been already too cursed to live a proper life by now. Lucio suddenly laughed, but he immediately stopped. Simeon chuckled. Geez, Lucio, my joke is funny, huh? Maybe I should congratulate myself for making you laugh. He slowly patted himself on his back. Good job, Simeon. You did an awesome job today. He then turned to look at Lucio. Hey, you've been angrier than usual these days. Are you sure you're alright? Lucio grunted. Why do you care? You're nothing but a lazy staff member. Simeon flinched. Hey, that's not nice. He sighed. Do you know Telamon? Lucio flinched, but didn't say anything. Simeon stretched his arms. Well, it seems you know him. Anyways, I was talking with him one day because Commander Kairos ordered me to help him out with some work. And we somehow ended up talking about you. He noticed some interest emanating from Lucio. I think he really cares about you. The way how he asked if you were doing well and stuff. And by how much he was working me for that week. It seems like he needs your help. Of course, he never asked me to continue helping him out. Even when I asked him, he didn't accept it. That's why I'm assuming that he wants you to help him out. Lucius still didn't say anything. Simeon cleared his throat. Hey, so what do you think about going back to him? Lucius shook his head. No. You know, he said that you worked with him before, so why not? Simeon said. Lucius shook his head again. Still no. Simeon frowned. Why? Do you have a Did you have a fight with him? He's always ready for you. Lucio sighed. I just can't. I'm not telling you why. Simeon sighed. Come on, Lucio. It's not just about you anymore. It's more than that. It's about a well-functioning fortress. Lucio groaned. Simeon, just get lost and stop talking to me. Simeon smiled. Even though he knew that he was treading on difficult waters, he was confident in himself that he could not only he could come out not just unscathed, but also after attaining a great victory. Nah, not yet, Lucio. Just hear me out once more. It's that if you choose to become Telamon's apprentice, then other soldiers may respect you more because you have some sort of title. For right now, it looks to me that you're not getting any respect from anybody because you're just an ordinary soldier without anything to show. So, if you do choose that path, then you won't be so stressed out anymore. Then other soldiers may have to talk to you for diplomatic work. They'll end up recognizing you and remembering you. And some may like you when they start talking to you, which means you'll get to meet and interact with more people. And lastly, it's also in your self-interest in that in our previous meeting, it was known unto us that you chose not to participate in the front lines. Disregarding the reasons, you still didn't partake in it out of your own choice. So, why not become a staff member so that you don't have to partake in it? And by then, others won't shame you for not going into the front lines. Anyways, everything's up to you. Then they got silent for a long time. Suddenly, Lucius shifted around. Hey, Simeon, were you a spy your whole life in the fortress? Simeon shook his head. Oh, no. Hardly anybody starts like that. I was an archer, but when Commander Kairos asked me if I wanted to be a spy, I immediately agreed. And that's why I'm telling you that it's not a bad idea to join the staff members. We have our own things going on over there, and it gets fun from time to time. And most importantly, except for spies like me, the staff members' physical fitness expectations are the lowest. So you don't need to be exercising so much. Lucio nodded and smiled a little bit. Okay, then I'll think about it. And that's how Simeon and Lucio improved their relations with one another. Even after fighting to the attrition, they were able to bond with each other and became reliable companions. Thank you, Simeon, Lucio said at the end. Simeon almost fainted, because Lucio has never thanked anyone before. That little guy may have said sorry to a few others, but as far as he knew, Lucio definitely never thanked anyone. When they were finished, the soldiers returned to their inns to sleep, and fun days went by fast after that. They soon found themselves heading over to Famagusta to sell armor, and then they arrived at Principo with the remaining raiding goods. Upon entering the town, Lord Pericles insisted that some money be distributed to the civilians in commemoration of yet another successful raiding campaign, and the soldiers were able to get real relaxation in their ever so comfortable fortress. Alright, so that was the end of chapter 7. So next one, I'll go to chapter 8. So thank you for